All right, let's talk about something that, let's be honest, affects pretty much all of us. The way AI is completely rewriting the rules for finding a job. And I'm not just talking about which jobs are out there. I mean, how companies even see you in the first place. This is a big one, so let's dive right in. So first up, this is the number that's been grabbing all the headlines. Projections are showing that AI could displace around 300 million jobs worldwide. I mean, that is a massive, staggering figure, and it's easy to see why it's fueling so much anxiety about what the future holds.
But you know what? If we only focus on that huge number, we're missing the more immediate and maybe even bigger revolution. It's kind of like an iceberg. The really important story is what's happening right now, just beneath the surface, and it affects anyone who has ever had to write a resume.
And that brings us to the central question for this entire explainer. What happens when the single most important tool in your job-seeking toolkit for the last 100 years just becomes useless? So let's tackle that head-on. In this first section, we're going to explore the death of the resume and how it's gone from this unique signal of who you are and what you can do to just another piece of automated noise.
And this has led to a brand new term, which is honestly perfect: resume slop. Just think about it for a second. With tools like ChatGPT, literally anyone can just paste in a job description and get a perfectly tailored resume in seconds. So what happens? You get this flood of applications that all sound exactly the same, all designed to trick the same algorithms, and real talent gets completely buried in the process.
And wow, this chart really puts that shift into perspective. You look back at the 90s, and hiring was all about people. It was about relationships, phone calls. A recruiter might look at maybe 50 to 100 resumes a day. But fast forward to today, that volume has exploded. We're talking over 1,000 applications per day. It's just not humanly possible to keep up, which forces this total reliance on algorithms that are just scanning for keywords and data signals, not actually trying to understand if you'd be a good fit. It's a whole new ballgame.
Okay, so what's the direct result of all this resume slop? Well, it's the rise of a brand new gatekeeper, the AI screening tool. This is basically a black box that now makes the first cut, deciding which candidates a human recruiter even gets to lay eyes on.
And here's why this is such a profound change. We've all heard about the hidden job market, right? That idea that most jobs are filled through connections. Well, that used to be about who you knew. Now it's about what an algorithm knows about you. Getting noticed today means being surfaced by an AI on some recruiter's dashboard.
Which, of course, leads to the really critical question. If we're handing over these first-round decisions to machines, are we actually making the process more fair and objective, or are we just hard-coding our existing biases into the system?
And honestly, the data here it's alarming. One study found that these AI screening tools picked resumes with white associated names over 85% of the time. But for resumes with black associated names, they were chosen less than 9% of the time. This just goes to show that AI isn't just reflecting our biases, it can actually amplify them to a terrifying degree.
And it's not just about race either. Researchers at Stanford found what they called a culture-wide trend of bias against older women. When they prompted AI to create resumes, it would consistently make the female candidates seem younger and less experienced than their male counterparts. The bias, as they put it, is literally woven into the fabric of these models.
Okay, so that's the problem, and it is a big one. But let's shift gears now and talk about the solution. How do you actually win in this new world? Well, it turns out you need a completely new playbook. The most fundamental shift you have to wrap your head around is right here. The old currency was the resume. It was all about how well you could describe your work. But the new currency, it's all about what we call verifiable artifacts, tangible, real-world proof that you can actually do the work. So what does that actually look like? Well, if you're a developer, your GitHub repository is your new resume. If you're a designer, it's your portfolio. But it goes way beyond that. It could be blog posts that show how you think, or documentation of a bug you fixed, or even digital badges and micro-credentials that prove you have very specific in-demand skills. The core idea is simple. Stop telling and start showing.
This also completely changes what networking even means. It's not just about grabbing coffee with someone anymore. Every single time you update your skills on LinkedIn, earn a new certification, or even just make a thoughtful comment on an industry post, you are creating what's called a data event. And these little events, they're the signals that tell those hiring algorithms, hey, this person is active, they're relevant, you should show them to a recruiter.
And that brings us to our final section,
which I think offers a much more optimistic vision for how this all plays out, because this isn't actually about machines replacing people, it's about a new kind of partnership between human recruiters and their AI assistants.
What we're starting to see emerge is this 80-20 hybrid model. The idea is brilliant. Let AI handle the 80% of the work that's just high volume and repetitive, sourcing candidates, doing that first screening, scheduling interviews. And that frees up the human recruiters to focus on that crucial 20%, the high-touch stuff like strategy, really digging into culture fit and building genuine relationships with the best candidates.
So, the real takeaway here is that this is all about augmentation, not replacement. The goal isn't to get rid of recruiters, it's to give them superpowers, right? Automate the grind so they can be faster, smarter, and focus on the things that only a human can do.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As AI takes over all the technical and routine parts of our jobs, it forces us to double down on what makes us unique. In a world of automated slop and algorithmic gatekeepers, maybe the most valuable asset you can possibly have isn't a perfectly optimized resume, but the simple ability to prove your skills, build real connections, and just be more human.